Hi there, I'm Marla Folden, an SLP at the Down Syndrome Resource Foundation in Burnaby in BC in Canada. And in this video, we're going to talk about parent coaching. Parent coaching is one of several options of service delivery. So if we can think of it kind of on a continuum. So over here, we have direct intervention where the therapist works exclusively with the child. And then maybe at the end gives you like a 2-minute try this at home homework situation. Then there's this middle ground, which is parent coaching, and we'll spend a lot of time today talking about that. And then over here on the other side is consultation, where maybe I call you on the phone once a month, we check in, we see where the problems are, what we can do about it, I give you some strategies, and that's it, that's all. So parent coaching operates in the sort of middle ground here. And a lot of parents are worried about it, and there's a lot of myths and misconceptions about it. So let's talk about that today, and we'll just get right into it. I have a couple notes here, so let's check it out. So we all know that the goal for therapy in general is to help the student communicate better. And by better, I mean communicating more overall, saying more things, communicating more clearly. So getting those speech sounds where we want them so that other people can understand. For some students, this means talking faster. For other students, it means talking slower. All in all, it means communicating more effectively with parents, peers, teachers, people in the community. That's what we want as therapists. That's what you want as parents. The details might be different case to case, but the goal is really the same thing. So what are the fears? What do people worry about for parent coaching? One thing I hear a lot is that families are wearing a lot of hats already. So the parent is already home chef, sports coach, general pandemic distraction professional. Maybe they're the educator as well right now because the kid's not in school. You know, they have to decide, do I take my kid to the doctor? Making all those sort of emotional labor type decisions for their child in a day, and parents do not want more. I get that. I'm a parent. I know how that feels. So that's a really valid concern and one that you should talk to your therapist about for sure if it's something that's true for you. Another thing that I hear a lot, which makes me a bit sad, is that, oh, I'm worried the therapist will make me feel bad. And I never want that to be the case. It's very upsetting when I hear that a therapist has made a family feel guilty or feel bad about what they're doing or not doing. It's really a matter of education, and everybody's on their own learning journey. So people should not be feeling bad. And if you're in a situation where your therapist is making you feel bad, if you're comfortable to talk to them about it, do so. If you're not, then I suggest you get a different therapist. And the third sort of most common concern that I hear that it's related to the first one, which is my therapist won't work with me anymore, or they won't work with my child anymore. That's the real concern. So what parents don't want is all the onus of therapy to be put on them. And it's kind of like wearing multiple hats thing. And I get that too, right? It's like you're the professional, you decide, you make these choices. So I'll give you an analogy here. And it's one that my colleague came up with, and I just love it so much. It's a really good sort of comparison for therapy. So think about a boat, and the therapist is going to help you decide which direction the boat is going to go in. They're going to know the stops that you need to make along the way, sort of the sub goals for your bigger goals. But the power of the boat is with you. You guys as parents are the rowers of this boat, right? Or as the school staff too. So even though this says parent coaching, we're talking parent coaching, it could be EA coaching or teacher coaching or daycare support person coaching, whoever's with the child. Okay, let's talk some facts about parent coaching. So number one thing, we as a therapist are not with your kid all the time. So therefore, we don't know them as well as you do, and we don't have as many opportunities to practice and do things with them as you do. 45 minutes in a week doth not a good communicator make. Number two, kids really learn better from real life. So we can play games in therapy, and that's actually why we play in therapy, because it's kind of like real life. But nothing beats real games, game time at home with mom and dad or with siblings or at daycare or at school, where the learning is happening on the spot, where and when you need it, right? I hope that makes sense. So it's kind of like kids don't need to generalize the little skills that they're learning in therapy to other places. They're learning them in those places directly. That's good, and we like that. And one thing I want to point out, sort of number 3, usually it's not an overhaul that we're talking about. Parent coaching is not making a parent into like an Olympic gymnast with an overhaul of everything that you've ever done. It's more like tiny little tweaks to what you're already doing. So good parent coaching and good home therapy takes what you do in your routine, in your daily life, the games you play, the routines you have, your getting out the door in the morning, your grocery shopping, everything you're already doing, and gives you little things that you can change to make it effective for your child to be able to learn, right? So it's not adding 10 extra things on your plate. It should not be. And the last point I want to address in terms of facts about parent coaching, it's a combination of the therapist working directly with the kid. We still have to try things to know if they're going to work. Every child is different. I can have 10 theories about what's going to work. I got to try them to know which one's going to be effective. So parent coaching is a combination of me working with your kid and then me helping you do the same thing with your kid in a way that's flexible and works for you. So the next thing I wanted to do was work through the process of parent coaching so we can kind of chat about that. So it kind of looks like this. I do love a good smart art. First, you watch me and I watch you, and we see how we both do it. Let's say we're working on 3-syllable words, super common ones. So I'm going to try some strategies with your kid, and you're going to watch me do those and try and figure out on your own, if you can, what you think I'm doing, right? And while I'm doing this, I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing and why. Then I want to see you try it. Try it in the old way that you were doing it and try it with a little tweak. So that would be the strategy I'm going to give you. If it's something like 3-syllable words, for example, I might say, oh, let's try pointing to 3 circles to add some visual support, right? So we're going to try that tweak. And then I want to know from you, how was that? So that's the reflection piece. Did that feel easy? Did it feel hard? Are you confused about that process? You know, is there something else that you think might work better? I would love to hear that. I love parent suggestions. So we're going to reflect on it and talk about it. That's the discussion piece. We're going to kind of say, okay, if we tried it like this, tried it like that, what could be most effective? And that moves us into the point where we're going to make a plan. So the planning piece is, where does it fit in your day? Where does it fit with what you're already doing? For example, when we're working on 3-syllable words, I love to do that when we're putting away groceries. Families have to do that. It happens every week or whatever. So when we grab our food items out of our bag, we're going to clap the syllables. We're going to point out the syllables. We're going to practice within our daily life. And actually, kids love that kind of thing, right? So it's making a plan of, when can it fit for you? What point of the day? What point of the week? When are we going to be doing this? And then we kind of send you on your merry way with the intention and the plan of, next time I talk to you, we're going to see how this went. And we'll start this cycle again, right? So that's the process of parent coaching. And there's a few times where I find parent coaching works out super well. And actually, this pandemic is a great time for parent coaching. Number one, we can't really see kids in person. So we rely on telehealth, and a lot of our students don't have the attention span over a screen that matches their attention span in person. So maybe in person we can play games for 40 minutes and talk with mom at the end for 5 minutes, or dad. But over a screen, maybe the attention is waning after 20 minutes, which is totally understandable. Screen games are just not as engaging as real in life play, and we can't take breaks and do those kind of things in the same way. So for students who have maybe a shorter attention span, who are kind of stuck doing telehealth right now, parent coaching is ideal. And what I really notice when we're in a good parent coaching groove with a family is progress happens way faster. These students are learning more, they're learning more effectively because the parents are sort of rowing that boat. We're getting to our destination and we're doing it. So this is just a brief overview of what parent coaching is and is not, and to kind of, I hope, help families out there feel like, oh, I'm not the only person who is worried about parent coaching or who has questions about what it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to do. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us here at the DSRF, and we can hopefully chat about it a bit more with you. Until then, have a great week.